What's good, YouTube? This your man Spill Dog. Man, I was watching some old classic boxing the other day, and you know, Tank is like a Tank. Remind me of when we was calling Zab Super Judah, that real Zab Judah. Tank got that same explosive power. Zab had Zab had the power in both hands, just like Tank do. If Zab didn't get you out in the first 3 or 4 rounds, he was like Tank. He'd take a few rounds off to set you up for some of them big shots later. Now I think Tank is a little more patient than Zab was, but Tank is coming up in a different era than Zab did. You know, back then they was more so fighting a lot tougher fights than a lot of these dudes are now. Go watch the fight with Zab Judah and Mickey Ward. That was a motherfucking war. I mean, Zab Judah, he was one of my favorite fighters, man. And see, that's why I was saying with Devin, a loss don't diminish who you was. If you go back and look at Zab Judah before he started getting old, really Jay Nady kind of messed Zab Judah career up, if you ask me, when he stopped that fight too early with him and Costa Zoo. Costa Zoo knocked Zab down at the bell. Now the bell rang right when Zab fell down. Zab fell down, got up, and was talking to the ref and fell down again, but he jumped up again. He was up way before the 10 count and the bell that rang. He finna go in the corner and sit down. It was no reason to stop that fight. And this was a championship fight. It was no reason to stop that fight. And Zab snapped on him. Zab snapped on him and he got suspended. And I really think that was the beginning of Zab's career getting kind of threw off track where where the boxing authorities was somewhat against him. He was looked at one time as like a bad guy to some degree in boxing when he really wasn't. He just would stand up for himself. When he fought this dude, Carlos Boldemir hurt him a couple times in the fight and was hanging in there. But if you watch the fight, Zab was the champion. Zab won that fight, if you ask me. But when the powers that be ain't really feeling you, they took that fight from him, and that was the fight he was supposed to have to set up him and the Floyd Mayweather fight. Now him and Floyd still ended up fighting, but they took Zab's belt, and Floyd went in there and beat Baltimore, and Zab had to fight Floyd to try to get his belt back. And I just feel like it was, if you go watch what Zab fought Miguel Cotto, Zab was finna beat Miguel Cotto ass in there. And Miguel Cotto was hitting him with some serious low blows. I mean, he couldn't handle Zab's speed and power. And you know what? I respect it to some degree. You do what you gotta do. I mean, he hit Zab with some major low blows. They really should have disqualified him because the shit was intentional. He did it 3 times, and I mean, you get hit in your nuts. I mean, point blank with a dude punching hard like Miguel Cotto, that took Zab legs from him, and Miguel came on strong late, but them low blows killed that fight. So there was a lot of little things that got in the way of Zab really being who he could have been in boxing, honestly. And I really think it all started when the chick with Jay Nady, I think they suspended Zab for almost 2 years. And back then, dudes didn't stay out the ring a long time like they do now. All these guys was having at least a couple of fights every year. You have a tough fight, then a somewhat easy fight. A lot of them was fighting 3 times a year, but this once a year, once every 2 years, like Spence and all them do. And Keith, the man, that shit wasn't heard of back then. So guys were sharp all the time. So you take almost 2 years off, that's gonna kill you. And I think another thing Zab did wrong, he went up to 147 because that's where the money was. And I felt like had he stayed at 140 pounds, he would have dominated. I really do. Just like as long as Tank don't go up too far, I don't see nobody beating him. I like Frank Martin a lot, but I do not see him winning against Tank. I don't see it. I don't see it no way, no how. I mean, I think Frank gonna have moments in the fight. I think Frank gonna show up. I think it's gonna be just like if you get 2 good Mexican fighters in there, when you get 2 good young brothers in there, they finna get busy. They finna get busy. Ain't no doubt about that. And that's what's gonna get Frank knocked out, I believe, because he gonna piss Tank off. And when Tank get mad in there, I have noticed, man, you don't want that. When when Floyd pissed him off in that fight with Mario Barrios and he came out that corner, it was on and popping. You do not want Tank to get pissed off. And I think Floyd saved that fight for Tank. Believe it or not, because I felt like Tank was losing. That's my man. I felt like Mario Barrios was winning on points, and he needed to do it. Floyd wasn't bullshit. Hey, come on, because Tank will wait around, so, and Coach Calvin, Coach Calvin got a love for him almost like a father son. You can tell, so you can just tell he almost parent. You could just see the love he got for Tank, and I don't think he would have said nothing like what Floyd said to him. And I think Tank needed to hear that at that moment. So, I really hate him and Floyd can't get along, man, because I think they did a lot for each other. I think Floyd did probably more for Tank than he did with Floyd, but they did a lot for each other. And I think Tank learned a lot from Mayweather, good and bad. Well, and probably learned some stuff that he definitely don't want to be in some ways. But I really feel like that's a relationship that needs to be restored. I really do. I don't like seeing them get into it, and I think the best thing for them to do is get in the ring and fight. Let's go ahead and let the master, let the teacher come in here with the student. Whatever happened. Embrace, and let's get the love back. And I think sometimes me and all my friends when I grew up, just about all of us I had a fight with almost all my friends growing up. And the next day or that same day, it's only a fight. Sometimes of us get pissed off, and it is what it is. And you win some, you lose some. You know what I mean? But if y'all really friends, a fight ain't going. What it'll do is bring y'all closer, more respect for one another. That's what it did with me and my friends. All of my best friends, maybe a few, but all of my best friends in Atlanta and Gary, Indiana, we done got into it sometime more than once growing up, but it never changed the same, it never really changed nothing. One time, some of my boys, I used to beat one of my friends up a lot, and they jumped me one day, and we ain't talked for a long time, but right before I moved to Atlanta, we talked and kind of got straight before school started, and they jumped me. That's what they had to do, but they jumped me, and it wasn't no thing. I did a lot of fighting growing up. I really did, and I don't look at it. It's just a fight. Some people, it is. That shit happen, depending on how you grew up and where you grew up. You know, you so I don't know what people think about Atlanta, but depending on hey, Atlanta, it's real down there. Don't get it twisted. You can get caught up in the Buckhead and all that shit, but I'm talking about if you in the inner city and you grew up around there and where, the projects and the low income neighborhoods growing up, hey man, I don't give a fuck where you come. You better check your resume when you get down there. It's a motherfucker that'll get with your glamour. I guarantee you that. Go out there talking crazy in a wrong neighborhood and see what happened to you. See if a motherfucker go at your shit and they got them things too. Real shit. But yeah man, I think Tank and Zab got a lot in common, man. I was looking at Zab now. They don't fight exactly the same, but they both was short and had that explosive power and speed and good footwork. And they both had the hip hop and the black community solidly behind them. The brothers is behind Tank. The brothers was behind Zab, win or lose. And I think really Tank can be the one to really get to 50-0 or something. Could do what Mayweather did if he stay focused and stay Tank. If he stay focused, and even if he fighting the better fighters, one thing I noticed with boxing now, a lot of these A-class guys, a lot of them don't have that real power in the smaller division. Lomachenko didn't have it. Shakur don't have it. Devin don't have it. Tiafimo can crack, but he don't got that explosive power. I think Tank is really the only one I really seen with that just explosive power where he can crack you and change the whole fight. And Ryan Garcia got it too, with that left hook. But most of them dudes, they gotta kind of take you in. And I like, man, Antoine Russell. That's the one I can't wait till he get in the mix somewhere. I can't wait till Antoine Russell get in the mix somewhere. But yeah, man, Tank to me is the dog now. I think Tank is that dude Frank got his motherfucking hands full in a couple of weeks. And as big as Frank is, he got a lot of weight to lose. He got to cut a lot of weight. I mean, we'll see. We just see what happens. He got to cut a lot of weight. I didn't realize he was as big as he was. And I would have thought this close to the fight, he would have been a lot closer to 135 unless he just looked big. But he looked like he about 150 pounds to me. I might be wrong, but he looked pretty damn big standing up on that stage. And Tank looked like he ain't that far from making weight already. So, that shit matters. One thing people didn't realize about Floyd was fighting. Floyd should have been fighting at 140 pounds. But the money was at 147. That's why him, Zab, Sugar a lot of them guys went up there to get that money. Now, when Floyd was fighting, he was fighting at his walk-around rate. None of these motherfuckers do that hardly. Spence and all them walk around 175, 180, damn near 200, and they fighting at 147 pounds. Him and Crawford is big dudes, boots. These some big dudes that sucking their weight down and beating up little motherfuckers. Floyd was actually that size. So he was giving up about 20 pounds a fight. People don't realize how good Floyd Mayweather was because he can make you hate him with that other shit about him. But if you really know what's going on in boxing and know what the hell he did, you would know why he didn't fight Margarito. The man would have been way too down. That's basically him fighting the middleweight. He was way too big, and then they caught the man using plaster of Paris. That's how he beat the hell out of Miguel Cotto, like he did. So when Devin them cry about this little stuff, and I know if he'd have just kept his hand up, he'd have won the fight. Miguel Cotto went, I forgot how many rounds it took for him to get knocked out by Margarito up with a dude that was 5'11", about 160 pounds in the ring that night, and had cast inside his gloves. Shit, man, this is boxing. You gotta your team gotta be on point with all this shit. Somebody gotta not be talking shit and trying to be in the public eye and paying attention to what the hell going on with the fighter you fight. That's why you need them old schoolers that have been through the game, that know what to look for. I remember when Ricky Hatton fought Manny Pacquiao. After the fight, the reporters came to Floyd Mayweather Sr. And Floyd daddy said this. He said, if that's how Freddie Roach don't want to win, that's their business. He said, that's up to them. He said, but they ain't fighting my son like that. That's his way of saying it without saying that boy on juice. He was talking about Manny. And all Floyd wanted Manny to do was take the blood test, because we already know you're taking steroids. You're not going to take that shit and fight me. So this kind of stuff go on in boxing, and if you ain't got the right people in your corner that know what the hell to look for, you're going to get caught out there like that. Point blank, period. But that's it for me on this video. If you like the video, like or subscribe. Till next time, it's your boy Spiel Dog. I'm out.